Welcome to the Days Explainer. Look, today we are going to fundamentally shift how you think about money. We're extracting the absolute best insights regarding the psychology of wealth, and honestly, we're tossing out the spreadsheets. No stock charts, no complex technical investment strategies today. Instead, we're going to look directly at your mind. We're exploring the psychological realities of how we all think about money. And we'll break down why pretty much everything you thought you knew about building wealth might actually be the exact thing holding you back.
So I want you to really think about this for a second. What is the actual difference between looking rich and being wealthy? It kind of sounds like a trick question, doesn't it? We use these words completely interchangeably all the time. But confusing the two is literally what keeps most people trapped on a financial treadmill for their entire lives. Over the next few minutes, we're going to challenge some of your deepest assumptions about wealth, status, and what it actually means to be financially free. All right, let's get into section 1. The rich versus wealthy trap. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly it captures our everyday illusions. You see someone driving a flashy sports car, and boom, you assume they're rich. What we completely miss is the massive crushing car loan behind it, right? We see a giant luxurious house, and we admire the wealth we think it represents, rather than acknowledging the multi-million-dollar mortgage tying that person down. We constantly confuse highly visible spending with actual underlying financial success. And man, it's a trap so many young earners fall into. As soon as you start making money, the immediate instinct is to buy the expensive phone, the flashy watch, or to book a luxury vacation just to post it on Instagram. You just want to show people that you have money to spend. But think about it. When people say, I want to be a millionaire, what they're usually really saying is, I want to spend $1 million. And spending $1 million is the exact opposite of being a millionaire. Being truly wealthy is entirely different. Wealth is invisible. It's the money you don't see. It's the investments working silently behind the scenes, compounding, growing, and making things happen without you having to trade your time for it.
Moving right along to section 2, getting versus staying wealthy.
So making money and keeping money, they require completely different psychological skill sets. Making money might just require a great idea, a bold risk, or landing a high-paying job. But keeping that money, growing it, well, that requires humility, frugality, and a really deep understanding of how value actually works. To put this into perspective, think about the number 400. That is the average amount an American spends every single year on lottery tickets. And often this is money they don't even have set aside for a personal emergency. They're just desperate to get rich quickly. And sure, some actually do win, but studies consistently show that the vast majority of lottery winners go completely broke and return right back to their original financial state, or honestly, even worse, super quickly. Why? Because getting the money was easy, but they entirely lacked the psychological skill set required to stay wealthy.
But listen, you don't have to be a lottery winner to accidentally destroy your wealth. Consider this classic example. You earn some money and put it into what you think is the absolute safest instrument possible, like a fixed deposit at a bank that guarantees you a 4% return. You might look at people investing in the stock market and think, wow, they're taking foolish risks, while my money is totally safe. But what you're ignoring is inflation. It's like a leaky bucket. If the cost of goods is rising by 5% every year and your money is only growing by 4%, you are actually losing purchasing power. Trying to stay safe with traditional savings instruments actually destroys your wealth silently every single year.
So true wealth is definitely not about hoarding cash in a supposedly safe mattress or a low-yield bank account. To actually stay wealthy, you've got to put your money into assets that genuinely outpace inflation over a long period of time. You're aiming for long-term investments that can yield 10 to 15%. Now, is that going to happen every single year without fail? No way. But over a long horizon, this is the only mathematical way to truly sustain and build real wealth.
All right, section 3, buying time, not things. So if the goal isn't to buy flashy things or hoard cash, what is all this money actually for? We need to completely redefine the purpose and intrinsic value of earning money. It's not about buying things, it's about buying time. As Morgan Housel points out, and let this sink in for a second, doing something you love on a schedule you can't control can feel the same as doing something you hate. That is incredibly profound. The highest dividend money pays is the ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. If you're just chasing a higher salary to buy a bigger house to impress people you don't even care about, you are on a treadmill that literally never stops. The ultimate goal of money is simply to give you complete, unshakable control over your own time.
And this brings up the incredibly liberating concept
of knowing what your baseline of enough is. The creator whose insights we're breaking down shared a deeply personal story from the 2020 COVID lockdowns. Suddenly, their income streams just halted. They looked at their bank account and realized they only had 5 months of savings left to pay the mortgage. Panic time, right? But actually, no. Instead of panicking, they realized something wild. They were totally okay with selling the house. They were completely willing to clear the loan, take whatever cash was left, move to a simple village in the mountains, homeschool their kids, and just be together. Because they knew their baseline of enough, the money stopped gripping them. They achieved true freedom, and it was entirely independent of a specific dollar amount in the bank.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, engineering your own luck.
Once you have that kind of time freedom, you can start looking at success completely differently. Highly successful people understand something about luck that rarely gets talked about. They don't sit around waiting for it. They design systems to generate it. People are super quick to dismiss the role of luck when someone succeeds, or they use it as an excuse when they fail. But luck isn't just magic. It's a numbers game you can actively play. Let's say you want a mentor, an internship, or a massive business opportunity. If you send one cold email, the chances of a reply are tiny. But if you systematically send 100 cold emails, knowing and fully accepting that 95 of them will be completely ignored, the math changes. You will likely get 5 replies. You don't know which 5 out of the 100 it will be. That part is the luck. But those 5 replies can absolutely change the trajectory of your life. You've essentially engineered your actions to increase the probability of getting lucky.
Okay, let's dive into this Section 5, the ultimate savings formula.
This brings us to the absolute climax of our explainer today. Almost all of us fundamentally misunderstand the concept of saving money. It is the core of everything we've talked about so far regarding rich versus wealthy, and it all boils down to one incredible formula. But before we get to the actual formula, we got to set the ground rule. You must live below your means. And hey, this is especially true for young professionals in their 20s. Think about it. When you're in your 20s, literally nobody expects you to be rich anyway. Yet, this is exactly the decade where people try the hardest to show off, buying things they really can't afford just to earn a false sense of respect. It's a futile game, and it actively destroys the financial foundation you're going to need for the rest of your life.
So here is where we completely reframe how savings works. The old formula, the one we are all taught in school, is that savings equals income minus expenses. You get your salary, you pay your bills, you buy your stuff, and whatever is left over, if anything, is your savings. But that is entirely the wrong way to look at it. The true formula is this: savings equals your needs minus your ego. Let me say that again: needs minus ego. Saving is not a math problem, guys. It is a psychological choice.
Let's be really clear about what we mean by ego here. Ego expenses are simply your desires to show off. It's buying the expensive shoes when the normal ones work just fine. It's upgrading to the newest phone every single year for no real reason. It's buying a fancy car to impress people you don't even like. Once you cover your actual survival needs, food, shelter, basic utilities, almost everything else is driven by ego. Every single time you suppress the urge to stroke your ego, you instantly increase your wealth. Shrink the ego, grow the bank account. It is genuinely that simple.
And look, reducing your ego isn't just about spending, it applies to investing too. You have to protect your peace. Never invest just to stroke your ego or to be part of some internet hype train. Avoid highly volatile assets, like random meme coins that can jump up 20% or crash 40% in a single night. Remember what we established earlier. The entire point of money is to bring you peace, autonomy, and control over your time. If you put your money into investments that cause you severe anxiety and make you lose sleep at night, you have completely defeated the purpose of having money in the first place. No investment return is worth sacrificing your mental health.
As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with one final, absolutely critical question to chew on. Is your money buying you the ultimate freedom, or is it just costing you your peace and your sleep? Are you using your income to stroke your ego and look rich to strangers, or are you quietly building the invisible assets that will make you truly wealthy? The psychology of money isn't about the numbers on a screen. It's about your desires, your peace, and your time. Think deeply about how you're playing the game and whether you need to change your strategy today.